I'm Teri, and this is Tea with Teri, where we talk about thoughts, emotions, and actions. So, with the US Thanksgiving holiday just a few days away, I want to talk a little bit about savoring. So, this thought of savoring helps us go beyond gratitude and Thanksgiving. We hear a lot about gratitude this time of year. So, I want to help us expand our thoughts through the idea of savoring. So, first, the definition of savoring actually has its roots in taste. And it was designed or defined as tasting of food and savoring the pleasure and taste of food. So I love that as a nutritionist and a foodie. But the current definition from Bryant and Veroff from 2007, from the article Savoring a New Model of Positive Experience, they define savoring as attending appreciation and enhancing positive experiences that occur in one's life. So let's dig in because this is a really interesting topic. And so I want to teach us a little bit about what savoring is, what it is not, how we can improve our life by practicing savoring, and how we can enhance our ability to, or how we can really learn how to savor. So let's start with some of the things that savoring is not. So first of all, savoring is the counterpoint or counterpart to coping. So coping is where we're really dealing with life's difficulties, and savoring is where we're really focusing on life's beautiful, beneficial things. So I love that positive spin. So we also want to think about that savoring is not the same as mindfulness. So it's interesting because mindfulness is, instead of being aware of whatever happens in the present, it involves deliberately focusing on and retaining those positive feelings. So we're not hyper focused on the moment, we're actually expanding the moment. And one of the things we're going to talk about in a moment is how savoring can really be past, present, and future. And that's cool too, right? So savoring is also not the same as meditation, because meditation really is asking us to transcend our thoughts. And savoring is asking us to connect and bring more awareness to our thoughts, which is also very cool. And so when we think about meditation, it differs because we are trying to focus on our current pleasant experiences. It's also not daydreaming or manifesting. And so it differs because daydreaming is really about taking ourselves and detaching ourselves from the moment. And savoring is really about doubling down on our awareness of the present moment and drawing our experience from our environment. It's also not flow, although flow involves enjoyment and activity. It's less conscious attention. And so when people are in the flow, they describe as almost being outside of conscious thought. But with savoring, we want to actually experience more conscious thought. So it's a fascinating but subtle difference. And so, let's talk about how we can have spontaneous savoring, but we can also practice it. So what's required to really dig into and become better at savoring? Well, we have to slow down and allow ourselves to really recognize what's happening inside of us during that pleasant experience. And this requires focus. So if we think about, oh, time flies when we're having fun, it's actually the opposite of savoring, because time should slow down and we're having this long experience of really an intense pleasurable sense. So it's a little bit different than that. And we also want to label it, and savoring can be enhanced when we enjoy it with others. So if you are experiencing something beautiful like a rainbow I recently saw a shooting star, which must have been a comet. It was amazing. And thank goodness I was with someone else, because we were both like, oh, that's amazing. And that experience shared was also enhanced. And so from the work of the two gentlemen, Bryant and Veroff, they actually talk about some of the benefits of savoring. And they're similar to gratitude, but maybe slightly different. So benefits can include buffering us against hard times, so kind of building that resilience. We can find ourselves recovering more quickly from an illness and even warding off depression. We adjust better to aging, which is pretty cool. And it can even help with addiction recovery. So, helping people realize and recognize that pleasant feelings can be produced without substances. And we do not need to be consciously augmenting our experience. Instead, we can savor our experience. So, four ways to sort of practice or recognize savoring: luxuriating, marveling, so that sense of awe; basking. Basking involves slowing down and noticing and taking a beat, right? Usually it also involves pride, which is pretty cool. And then thanksgiving or gratitude, not just the day or the season, but actually embodying a state of thanksgiving. And when we express that outwardly. And so we also want to notice that savoring can happen in the past, present, or future. It's most often associated with the present, but we can think about in the past with reminiscing. That's a way to savor. And in the future, anticipating something. That is also a way to savor. So I want to invite you to think about how you might spend some conscious thought savoring these holidays, particularly if you're celebrating Thanksgiving this week, how you might use the idea of savoring to bring more gratitude and just a slightly different experience. And then again, from the article I mentioned, the data shows that when a good thing happens, the more people actively savor it, the more joy they get in the moment. So here's wishing you a season of joy and savoring. Well, that's Tea for Teri this week, and I'll see you next time.